Namaste and welcome. Yoga is the science of self. Above all, remember kindness and generosity to all beings. With this, you will have success in the yoga practices. Today, in this video, we'll focus on the bladder and kidney meridians, which relate to the root chakra, the nervous system, and the entire back of the body. I'll show you the meridians first. The bladder meridian starts at the little toe here and runs up the back of the leg, just like this, to the sit bones, up the spine, both sides of the spine, up the back of the neck, over the top of the head, to the corners of the eyebrows, and then to the tear ducts. The bladder meridian also relates to the central nervous system. It follows along some of the largest nerves in the body, like the sciatic nerve and the spinal cord, and also the brain. The kidney meridian starts in the sole of the foot, and it runs up the innermost part of the calf, the inner knee crease, the innermost thigh, and it goes through the pelvic floor and then up from the pubic bone, almost by the midline of the body, here, ending here at the collarbones. The kidney meridian is related to the element water. So the bladder and kidney both relate to the emotion fear and fright, and these reside in the pelvic floor. Some key points that you should know before we start the sequence quickly: in the sole of the foot, kidney 1 point here. On the inner and outer ankle bones are 2 important points on the kidney and the bladder meridians. Also, in the base of the skull here, this is on the bladder meridian, and the kidney organs here in the lower back are at the bottom of the rib cage. And the bladder organ, the urinary bladder, is just behind the pubic bone in the front. The water element in the kidney and bladder meridians are important in the spiritual practice, as the water element is the foundation or the spiritual essence. Let's start the sequence now. You can stand at the front of your mat, and we'll move through Surya Namaskar just to warm up the body, moving with the breath. Inhale, reach your arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Now step your right foot back, look forward, arch your back. Step your left foot back. Now lower knees, chest, chin to the floor. Inhale, push your pubic bone down and arch your back. Squeeze your butt. Cobra. Now push back to downward facing dog. You can keep your knees bent. Step your right foot forward as you inhale, arch your back, look up. Step your left foot forward, release your head down. Stretch your arms up again. Inhale, down, fold, exhale. Left foot back, inhale, arch your back. Right foot back. We're just warming up. Knees, chest, and chin to the floor, moving with the breath. Inhale, slide your chest forward, squeeze your back. Exhale, push back, downward facing dog. Step your left foot forward. Look up, inhale. Right foot forward, release, head down. Inhale, reach your arms up. Exhale, forward. Let's move a little faster. Right foot, arch your back. Don't worry too much. Knees, chest, chin. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Right foot forward, arch your back. Left foot. Come up, inhale. Exhale, fold. Left foot, arch, look up. Use your eyeballs. Right foot. Keep going, knees, chest, chin, cobra. Push back. Left foot. Right foot. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, fold. We're going to do 2 more. Right foot. Left foot. Keep going lower. Now squeeze your whole back. Push back. Head towards the floor. Right foot. Left foot. Reach all the way up. Look back. Now fold. Last one. Left foot. Right foot. Knees, chest, chin, cobra. Push back. Left foot. Right foot. Reach up. And release. Just stand still with your eyes closed and let your breath normalize. The first posture that we'll focus on is Uttanasana for the entire back of the body. Step your feet about hip width apart and then bend your knees a little bit to start with so that you can rest your chest and abdomen flat on your thighs like this. And then you can bring your hands down or grab your big toes. This is how it's traditionally taught. Release the back of your neck and then begin to lift your seat as you pull your head towards the floor. If your back starts to round, then bend your knees more and arch your back. Keep your spine lengthening so that you can open your pelvic floor. Think about lifting your tailbone and spreading your sit bones apart as you release forward. Stay here. The back of your neck should be long so that you're looking at your shins. Remember, the bladder meridian is going to come up over the top of your head. Shift your fingers now so that you're holding your little toes. The bladder meridian starts here in the little toes, so we'll start to utilize this entire line to deepen the posture. You can pull up on your little toes or pinch and squeeze them as you release forward more. And then take your hands also to the back of your heels. Here you can squeeze the inner and outer heels. Make sure that you're not rolling in on your ankles or rolling out. You want to have balance between the outer and inner ankles. That's the kidney and bladder meridians, the yin and the yang of the water element balancing. This line runs up the back of the calf, up the hamstrings, which you might feel stretching now, to the sit bones, and then down over the spine, back of the neck, all the way to the tear ducts. Concentrate and see the line as you deepen into the posture. Stay in the pose a little bit longer. It's important in these postures to use 100% concentration. Yoga means to affect the mind, to use the mind to deepen and heal and develop spiritually. So it's not just a physical practice. You can make a 50% effort in the physical practice and 100% concentration. Now the next posture, if you step out to the side like this, Turn your right toes out and your left toes in, about 45 degrees, and then twist your hips to face to the right. You're going to level your hips. They should be squared. Press through the big toes so that you activate your inner thighs a little bit, and then fold directly forward. Place your hands down. Now you can have your front knee bent here. Usually what happens is the hips become twisted. Look up and make sure that your hips are about level and your hips squared forward. If possible, you can straighten your front leg and fold forward. Otherwise, keep your knee bent and then release forward. You should feel this along the back of your hamstring here. If your legs are strong, reach for your back leg and then round your back. Press your forehead to your knee, squeezing the abdomen to release the back of the spine. Now release your hands down and come up. Let's do the other side. Turn your left toes out and right toes in. Twist your hips and make sure they're square and level. Now fold forward, bending your front knee if you need to come all the way down. You can place your hands on the mat and stretch forward, releasing the back of the neck. Strengthen your legs as much as possible, and then reach for your back leg. Round your back, retract your abdomen, pull your navel against the spine, and press your forehead to your knee. And release. So that's for the bladder meridian. And next we'll do one for the kidney meridian. Step your feet wide apart. Turn your toes slightly inward. Place your hands on your hips. You're going to fold forward. As you fold forward, you can start with your knees a little bit bent. And get used to the idea of spreading your sit bones apart as you fold forward, so that you can come down with an almost flat spine or even an arch in your lower back. As you release all the way down, so your knees can be bent. If you're more flexible, straighten your legs and pull your head towards the floor. Stay in the posture and concentrate on the tip of your spine. This is the tailbone. If you want to release fear from the body, you have to release the pelvic floor. The pelvic floor muscles are rooted in the tailbone and sit bones. By lifting and releasing tension around the tailbone, you can release fear from the body, from the whole back of the body. Another thing that might help you go deeper in the posture is to press on the points along the heels, the kidney and bladder meridian points in the heels. When you press these points within the postures, you can press quite firmly and pay attention, concentrate on any changes that you feel happening in the posture. Keep holding the posture. And notice if your breath is complete. The breath should be smooth and even, the inhale and exhale equal. Okay, bring your hands to your hips and release the posture, come all the way up. Next, we'll do the hamstring stretch, standing up. Stand on your left leg and bring your right knee into your chest. You can just squeeze your knee into your chest, almost like you could bring your shoulder to your armpit. And then take your hands to your foot. Press hard into the sole of your foot. So I'm pressing my fingers into the kidney 1 point, which helps open the whole back of the leg and the whole back of the body. Press here, and then gradually start to extend your leg straight. You can keep your knee bent, or you can straighten your leg all the way, if possible. Raise your leg a little bit if you're more flexible. And then bring your leg out to the side. So we can open both the bladder and kidney meridians in this posture. The standing foot is equally as important as the foot that you are holding in your hand. There's a bandha, or an energy lock, in the sole of each foot, as well as in the pelvic floor. Squeeze the pelvic floor, lifting and contracting the perineum in all of the standing postures. Return to the front and release. Now stand on your right leg and pull your left knee into your chest. First, just squeeze your leg against your chest, pulling your knee towards your armpit. And then take your hands to the sole of your foot. Press your fingers to stimulate the kidney 1 point. This is the connection to the water element in the ground that we stand on. And then when you're ready, push your heel out. If possible, straighten your leg all the way. But you can always keep your knee bent. Never strain the postures. And then if you're more flexible, raise your leg a little bit higher. And then pull your leg out to the side, opening through the kidney meridian, the innermost part of the thigh. Keep pressing and stimulating the sole of the foot with your fingers, as well as the foot that you're standing on. Squeezing and lifting the pelvic floor. The energy lock of the root chakra. Go back to the center and release. Next, come into a squat. So you can have your legs wider than your hips. This is a great way to connect to the soles of the feet, as well as the pelvic floor and tailbone. If your calf muscles are tight, you might have to be up on your toes, which is fine. Gradually, think of allowing the heels to descend towards the floor. This will stretch the calf muscle, the Achilles tendon, and even the fascia or the plantar fascia of the sole of the foot. In this position, concentrate on the tailbone, the tip of the spine. Here is rooted any imbalances in the whole spine. Not only the vertebrae, but the spinal cord and the brain are affected by the alignment of the tailbone. Try to extend the tailbone straight down as you extend the crown of your head straight up. Make sure your chest is wide open. This is a good time to squeeze and release the pelvic floor a few times. Next, bring your right shoulder and knee together. Keep them together and reach under your leg with your right arm. Then see if you can grab your hands behind you. If you can reach your fingers, then start to straighten your left leg and then your right leg. Relax your neck. Stay in the pose. Alternatively, you can use a yoga strap or any kind of towel or tie or scarf. If you're less flexible, you can use this to assist the posture. While you're in the posture, work on straightening and strengthening your legs and lifting your seat up as you release your head down. Make sure you let your neck relax. And release. Let's do the other side. Bring your left knee and shoulder together. Reach through and grab something. If you're more flexible, you can reach all the way up and grab your elbows. And then begin to straighten your right leg and then your left leg. Lifting your seat up, relax your head down. Remember, you can use a strap if you're less flexible. You never want to strain your hamstrings. Watch your breath and concentrate. Now release. Return to the squatting position. And then we're going to move on to the floor. Extend your legs in a long diamond shape. Sometimes we're used to doing this posture, but today, extend your legs, your feet further out. This is a much more difficult stretch because it activates and stretches the sciatic nerve, which is part of the Bladder Meridian. You're going to take your elbows outside of your legs and grab your big toes like this. You can interlace your fingers here. The full posture looks like this. You're going to fold forward and bring your face to your feet with your elbows out to the sides. But you might be more like this position, a little higher up. The main thing that you want to think about again is focusing on the tailbone. We keep coming back to the same concepts, the tailbone, the pelvic floor, and lengthening the entire spine when we're working in the Bladder Meridian. Gradually, with each breath, extend forward. Keep extending, lengthening the tailbone back. Even feel that you're lifting the tailbone up as you reach the crown of the head forward. And hold the posture a little bit longer. If you want to use the points to help deepen the posture, which is my favorite thing to do, then you can work here on the inner ankle bones and heel bones. These are powerful points in the kidney meridians as you hold this posture. Press deeply, and you can go ahead and massage also up along the Achilles tendon. These help build the foundational yin energy of the whole body and of all of the organs. Opening the inner thighs as well. Okay, release this posture. And then one more time, come to standing. This time with your feet a little bit wider than hip width, but not too wide. This posture is more of a challenging posture. Bend your knees and rest your chest on your thighs like this. And then reach your arms around and through the back of your knees. See if you can grab your ears here, like this. Or possibly the back of your head. And then begin to work on straightening your legs, pushing your elbows back. This challenge posture is great for the bladder meridian as it opens the hamstrings and also stretches all of the spinal muscles in the spinal rounding posture. Never strain and always keep the breath smooth and even. Release. Let's do a counter pose now. Stretch your feet out in front of you, feet flat on the floor and your hands behind you. Lift your seat high and release your head back. Squeeze your butt muscles. Squeeze your pelvic floor and push your seat even higher. If you want more of a challenge, you can straighten your legs out here. Make sure that you push your feet and toes flat to the floor and squeeze your legs together. Keep the breath moving smooth and even. Squeeze your butt. And release. Next, we'll be working some more in the kidney meridian. Coming to lie on your abdomen now. The first pose that we'll do is Locust. Remember that the kidney meridian runs up the inner thighs, so here we'll be activating the lower part by squeezing your legs together and squeezing your inner ankles together. And then we'll be opening and stretching the upper part. Bring your chin forward, point your toes, and squeeze your legs together hard, pressing your inner ankle bones together. And then lift everything up. Even your hands. Keep pointing your toes, squeezing your legs together, squeezing your butt muscles, squeezing your pelvic floor, pushing your pubic bone down into the floor, and then arching your back to lift your collarbones. Stay here. Keep squeezing. Squeeze and press your ankle bones together. Lift your thighs a little bit higher, and then release. Just rest your forehead on the floor for a few breaths. Let's do one more. Chin forward, feet together, point your toes, squeeze your elbows, and then lift everything. Squeeze your legs, squeeze your butt muscles, point your toes, make sure your legs are straighter, and then arch your back, lift your collarbones. And release. Rest your forehead on the floor. Keep your legs together. Again, bring your chin forward. This time, press your feet down into the floor. And you can have your hands under your shoulders. Keep your feet down and lift your collarbones. Push your pubic bone into the floor. Push the tops of your feet down. Squeeze your legs together. Squeezing your legs together and squeezing the pelvic floor is what helps activate the kidney meridian. It's the bandhas. Use your breath. Squeeze your back muscles. As you squeeze the back of the body, the front of the body opens. Now release. Press back into a child pose and rest there for a few breaths. Sitting on your heels, you can rest your forehead on the floor. In child pose, close your eyes and see the kidney organs here in your lower back. They're actually a little higher than many people imagine. They're here under the bottom of the rib cage. As you inhale, send your breath there into the kidney organs. Make sure it's equal on the left and right side. You have two kidneys. The left kidney has more yin energy, and the right kidney has more of the yang energy. Okay, come to sit on your heels. And the next posture we'll do is another backward bending. Bring your knees together so that your knees are touching and your feet are touching. But turn your toes under. Heels together. Push your hips forward and then reach back for your heels. Lift your chest and see if you can reach for both of your heels. You can put your thumb on the inside of your heel and press there again on these same points. Be careful that you don't close your hip joint. Push your hips forward, especially the pubic bone, while you still squeeze your legs and knees and ankles together. Now lift your chest, and if you like, release your head back. Keep breathing. Squeeze your legs together. Squeeze your pubic bone forward. Lift and squeeze the perineum or pelvic floor. You should feel a lengthening from the pubic bone up the front of the body to here on the collarbones. This is the kidney meridian. Now bring your hands to your lower back, lift your chest, and then sit down on your heels. Next, grab the outside of your heels and then pull your navel in, contracting your abdomen. Bring your forehead to your knees. Stay here and press your forehead into your knees. You can use your arms to pull your heels and keep pulling back, rounding your spine. This creates space in the kidneys. At the same time, you can use your breath to expand your lower ribs here. Strong contraction of the abdomen. And then release into child pose, forehead on the floor, and relax. Visualize and concentrate on the kidney organs. Okay, come up. And now we'll do a spinal twist just to neutralize the spine. Sit over to the left a little bit and then bring your right foot on top, crossed over your left knee. Make sure that your right sit bone stays down on the floor, and then pull your right knee across your chest a little bit. Sit up tall. The most important thing in this sequence is to lengthen the spine. That means send your tailbone straight down and lift the crown of your head straight up. Now twist and look over your shoulder. Every time you inhale, lengthen your spine up and expand your chest. Not like this. Make sure your chest is open. And then every time you exhale, twist the spine a little bit deeper. Stay there and keep breathing. Make sure you're not rounding forward, but rather sitting up straight. And release. Now switch your legs so that your left foot is crossed over your right knee. Left sit bone down on the floor. Gently pull your left knee across and sit up straight. Use that to pull your spine upright. You can hug your knee here and then twist to the left. Keep lengthening your spine, tailbone straight down, crown of your head straight up. Look over your shoulder and breathe. Inhale to expand and lift. Exhale to twist deeper. And release. Okay, the next posture we'll hold a little bit longer. This is Paschimottanasana. So again, in these postures, in this sequence, we're not making a huge physical effort. These are more to develop concentration and healing, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. So don't push too hard and make sure the concentration of the mind is the priority. Bend your knees slightly to begin with, so that you can rest your chest on your thighs once again, opening the pelvic floor, sending the tailbone back and sit bones apart. And then hold the outside of your feet. Now, for this Paschimottanasana, release your head down so that the back of your neck is long and your face rests on your shins. If you're more flexible, you can push your heels out as long as your chest and thighs stay together. If this happens, then you should bend your knees so that you can lay flat on your thighs. As much as possible, straighten your legs, spread your sit bones, and lift your tailbone. Now you can work by pressing along the outer edges of the feet here. Releasing the connective tissue, which is where the energy flows. Lengthening the back of the neck. In many of the postures, the eyes and the gaze, the direction of the gaze is important. In this case, you want to turn your gaze down so that you're looking at your own navel or pubic bone. By turning the gaze down, you will release the muscles in the base of the skull here. This is the number 10 point on the Bladder Meridian, which is important for releasing the entire Bladder Meridian, even including the soles of the feet. Simply by turning your gaze down, your hamstrings will be more flexible. Stay in the posture. As you hold the posture, start to visualize the entire meridian. Close your eyes and begin to see the lines from the inner corners of the eyes, the tear ducts, up over the top of the head, down the back of your neck, down the sides of your spine, down the sacrum, the sit bones, down the back of your legs, back of your knees, back of your calves, to the outer ankles, the outer edge of the feet, and into the little toes. If you can visualize these lines internally, developing this internal awareness, you will be able to activate the pathway, the organ, and the emotion. Now try concentrating on the kidney organ here. As you go deeper into the posture gradually, visualize the kidney organs moving upward on your back. The bladder organ, which is here behind the pubic bone, should move down and back. So they have an oppositional movement as you concentrate and hold the posture. Refining the breath helps to refine the mind by making the breath smooth and even and concentrating the mind with intention. Yoga can be achieved. Now release the posture. The next posture is the plantar stretch. In this posture, you'll be sitting on your heel bones again, with your toes turned under. So for some people this is very easy, and for others this is already quite intense. It depends on your unique body structure. You want to feel the weight of the sit bones release down onto the heel bones. And then make sure that your little toes are not tucked under, so you can reach down and pull your little toes out. You can stay right here in this posture if you already feel a stretch. If it's very intense, you can bring some of the weight into your hands. If possible, release the full body weight down into your heels. Now, if this is very easy, then you can go a step further. Spread your knees apart, and you'll see that my toes are also turned out to the sides. Still, I'm sitting my full weight down onto the heel bones. You can stay in this posture also, stretching the connective tissue or the fascia of the soles of the feet. If you'd like to progress into the full posture, follow me. Bring your fingers forward and then extend your right leg straight. Lift your seat a little bit and then sit down on your left heel bone. So your left heel bone is going to press right in between the two sit bones. This can feel quite intense. You may have to lift your left knee off the floor, which is fine. If you have any pain in your left knee, you should not do this posture. But if possible, bring your left knee to the floor, and even more, bring your hands together in prayer position. This can feel very intense in the pelvic floor or in your foot. Either one of those is probably beneficial. Let's do a few pelvic floor contractions here. Squeeze the pelvic floor muscles and then release. If you don't know how to squeeze your pelvic floor muscles, just squeeze the anus. Squeeze and release. Do this about 10 times. You should feel the contraction of the pelvic floor against your left heel. Okay, release. Bring your hands down and then switch your feet. Extend your left leg and sit down on your right heel. Each leg could be very different, so make sure that you treat your knees with respect. If possible, bring your knee to the floor and feel the pressure of your heel in the perineum or pelvic floor. And then do the contractions. Squeeze and release the pelvic floor about 10 times. If you feel pressure or even a little bit of pain in your foot or pelvic floor, this is normal and can be very beneficial. Remember all of the times that you wore very painful shoes, and this will help correct those problems. Releasing the pelvic floor benefits the whole spine and the central nervous system. Okay, release. We'll do another long hold now of an easy posture called Sphinx. Come down onto your abdomen. We'll stay up on the elbows this time. For most people, this is a comfortable position, but make sure that your feet are together, the tops of your feet down, and especially your inner heels squeezing together. Squeeze your legs together. Part of this posture is the muscle contraction of the inner thighs and pelvic floor. As you squeeze your legs together, push your pubic bone down into the floor and squeeze your butt muscles, and then begin to lift your collarbones. This is to activate the kidney meridian. Keep squeezing the pelvic floor. Lifting and squeezing the pelvic floor helps lengthen the front of the body. Squeeze your heels together, squeeze your legs together, squeeze and lift the pelvic floor into the body, and then keep lengthening from the pubic bone to the collarbones. Let the breath be steady and smooth. Concentrate on the pelvic floor, the squeezing of the inner thighs and pelvic floor. Because we're working on the kidney meridian, it's not necessary to lift your chin. We're only stretching from the pubic bone to the collarbones here. Keep lifting the collarbones more. Squeezing your legs, squeezing the pelvic floor, squeezing your inner ankles together. Feel as if you're extending your inner ankles backwards. Just a few more moments. Hold the pose and concentrate. Lie down on your back. And relax. The next posture that we'll do will help lengthen and open the back of the body. This is Plow. We'll hold this posture for a few minutes. So we'll come into an easy version of the Plow if you already know this pose. Raise your legs and bring your hands to your lower back. And then just bring your knees to your forehead like this. Make sure anytime that you're rounding your back that you also contract the abdomen and pull the navel back. In this posture, make sure that you do not turn your head from side to side. So if you need to watch the video, do that first, and then do the posture. Move your breath into your kidneys and feel the lengthening of the whole back. Your kidneys are approximately right behind your navel. By pressing your forehead into your knees into your forehead, you can stimulate these points along the bladder meridian. So you can press quite hard with your knees
If you're more flexible, you can bring your knees to the top of your head, or just keep your knees on your forehead. Hold the pose and concentrate. If you want to be successful in the postures, you have to hold the poses longer. Steady the breath and concentrate. Stay in the pose. Now, if possible, bring your hands to your feet. You can bend your knees more and bring your knees by your ears, or keep your legs straighter. If you can, grab the soles of your feet here and press into the soles of your feet again, kidney 1 point. Or you can work on your outer ankle points. Now slowly lower your seat down so that your seat rests on your arms. Bring your feet down, palms down, press your elbows down, and lift your chest. Release your head back all the way, stretching your chin back. Rest on the top of your head, opening the base of your throat. Keep pushing your elbows down to lift your chest and breathe. Now push your elbows down, lift your chest, tuck your chin, and lay down flat for Shavasana. Relax your body completely. Stay here as I guide you through a short Shavasana. Allow your body to become heavier and heavier with each exhale. Sinking down, releasing all tension and impurities. Now focus your attention on the upper chest and lung. See the upper chest relax as the energy moves out through the thumbs and index fingers. No tension in the base of the throat, the collarbones, the upper chest, the front of the shoulders, the biceps, the forearms, thumbs and index fingers, completely relaxed. As the body relaxes, it heals itself. Stay in Shavasana as long as you like. May all beings everywhere benefit from this practice through us. Thank you for joining me. Namaste.